Welcome to Top Gear India. So you have seen what the thumbnail is all about. This is the Triumph T4 versus the Hero Mavrick. And today we are going to tell you on which one's better and which one should you be owning. And even if you do, what are the drawbacks, what are the plus points, everything that you need to know. Now, a lot of people might say that these are stripped down motorcycles of their elder siblings, but that is not the case because both these motorcycles have a very unique taste and flavor to bring to the market, and these are very good competitors in the whole 2 lakh price point. So on one side we have the Hero Mavrick. Now the Hero Mavrick is a retro commuter motorcycle. It's trying to do all the commuter skills by looking like a retro motorcycle, and it is comfortable. Also the granddaddy of this segment, because this was the bike that had brought the whole 400cc 2 lakh price range into fire. On the other side stands the Speed T4. Now this is a motorcycle that has been dialed down from the Speed 400, but nonetheless, due to the retuning of the engine and due to a few other parts that has been moved here and there, it is a lot more capable city commuter, and to be very honest, it is better than the Speed 400 according to me, but more on that later. So the first thing let's talk about is the appearance. So the Hero Mavrick, we had always had the issue that it looks dull from behind. If you look at the motorcycle completely, the motorcycle can be divided into 2 halves, the first half and the second half. Now, the first half has a really good tank, a really good indicator which has the Hero logo inside it, and also it has a really good headlight. If you see, it has the whole H emblem inside the headlight and it looks quite good in the dark. But what it falls short on is the second half of the motorcycle. Now there's not a lot of design elements in the rear section of the motorcycle that can make it stand apart. So all in all, it looks a little bland, but it has its characteristics and capabilities. Now coming down to the Triumph T4, now that motorcycle has a Triumph feel to it. Like you will get this whole Trident-y vibe once you look at the vehicle. It looks retro, but on the whole it is not very retro. But nonetheless, it looks rather compact, it looks rather small, and also it has the whole Triumph logo and the monoshock working for it. Now because of, let's say, these 3 elements, like looking compact, having a big Triumph logo on it, and also having the monoshock, this Triumph T4 is the winner of this segment. But my father always says, "Dekhite polash pushpo oti monohar, gondo bina kehu nahi kore samador." So in short, it means looks is not everything, and I kind of want to believe that in this comparo. Now, moving on to tech. So let's talk about tech. Now, none of these motorcycles have a lot going on in terms of tech. It's a very short segment. Everything is mechanical, even down to the throttle response. And this can be a bummer for quite a few people who are wanting a lot more tech from this segment. But all in all, these 2 motorcycles want to appeal to a whole retro angle, and I think having less amount of tech does help them in their cause. So turn-by-turn navigation is available on the mid-spec Mavrick, where you get an LCD turn-by-turn display, and also you get an SOS button, which we have discussed before is pretty useless, but then what it does is that send a text to a contact that you have already saved, and should they be able to read the text, they will know that you're in trouble and you have pressed the SOS button. A little useless, a little gimmicky to be honest, but these are the 2 reasons why the Hero Mavrick is the winner of the tech department. So now to present the sponsor of this video, Apollo Trampler Tires. So Apollo Trampler Tires have the aim of conquering every terrain. They promise to give unparalleled grip and durability on every terrain. These are steel radial tires that promise to give you unmatched stability and riding control. Big W-shaped tread blocks with open grooves allow you to push in mud, air, water, whatever you need out of the tires with ease. Tire life indicators keep you informed on when you need to change your tires. As they are inspired by exploration, go out and get your Trampler tires and embark on an epic journey. With that, back to the video. So if I had to be kept at a gunpoint and I had to answer which engine do I want, I would have chosen the Mavrick 440. Because the Mavrick 440 is a lot more poised engine than the T4. The T4 has the largest bore and the second shortest stroke engine in the class. And funny thing is that the engine has been tuned in such a way that it needs to generate a lot of the torque a lot early in the RPM range. However, you feel that the engine is always meant to do something else, especially when you push it, because it's a rev-happy engine and it loves to rev, but it's been conditioned to make more torque. Now, that's the unique aspect of this engine. It almost feels like the engine is always having ADHD because it's never poised anywhere. The more you push it, the more aggressive the engine wants to become. And the more aggressive the engine wants to become, the more detached it feels from the tuning, the state of tuning that it is in. So there is a certain level of disconnect when it comes to the Triumph T4 engine because it loves to rev, it has to create more torque very early on, but at the same time, once it starts revving, it does not want to go down. But on the other end, the Hero Mavrick engine is completely different. It is the longest stroke in the class. It revs lower than the T4 and torque is felt throughout the rev ring. It is not like a punch that you feel in the T4. Rather, it is very poised and very linear when it comes to the delivery of torque. For that, it feels like it was tailor-made to do a cruiser's job. Now, the magic happens at 80 kilometers per hour first. When you're at 80 kilometers per hour, the Triumph T4 will feel like a lot more poised vehicle. It will feel like a lot more relaxed and you will barely feel the engine below you. But what happens is, once you start hitting the triple digits, the engine becomes a lot more aggressive and all it wishes to be is pushed more. And that kind of unsettles the entire cruiser experience that I would want from the T4. But on the other hand, the Mavrick engine is phenomenally beautiful. So it does not need to rev high to generate that speed. And once it is at 80 or once it is at 80 to 100, the magic is the 6th gear. You push it on 6th gear, it somehow turns into an overdrive and the engine is more relaxed than ever. It does not want to rev really high and it wants to be kept at the 80 to 110 point. And trust me, on those runs and on those speeds, the Mavrick 440 was unbeatable when compared to the Triumph T4. So in this case, the T4 engine is clearly faster, but the Mavrick takes the win because it is a lot more calmer. Now you might say the power output might be less in the Mavrick, which I would agree to. 27 brake horsepower is not a lot. But then due to the amount of torque it has to offer and due to the bandwidth or the linear graph of the torque curve, and trust me, if you are pushing the vehicle, the Mavrick 440 will always be the more poised general and you can achieve a lot of things out of that engine. Also, on the aspect of low speeds and city commuting, the Mavrick is also the clear winner here because A, it does not need to be pushed as hard as the T4. It's not a rev-happy engine, so it is quite comfortable to live with. And also, the Mavrick sounds better. No matter who tells you, if you have to go stay with them side by side and then feel the difference, the Mavrick has a better thumb. When we were talking about the suspension, there was a lot of confusion that was going on with my mind because these two suspension setups are quite different even though they share a lot of parts. So both have 43mm front telescopic suspension with the T4 having 10mm more travel in the front. Monoshock for the T4 in the rear and the Mavrick gets a 7-step adjustable twin suspension. The T4 is lighter on its toes because it's 180 kgs, almost 7 kg lighter than the Hero Mavrick. But because of that, a lot of characteristics have developed within the motorcycle. So as it is light on its toes, you will feel a lot of the jerks and bumps not being soaked in by the motorcycle and traveling directly to your handlebars. Now, it does make you feel more connected, but at the same time, it's a little more over connection that we feel here it is. The bike also feels a lot sloppier when in corners or when you're trying to flick the motorcycle. So even though it's a faster motorcycle, the suspension is kind of a letdown. So here's where the confusion happens. It's a lot more poised and it's a lot more capable motorcycle, to be honest, because it can carry all the bumps and all the problems that the Indian roads have. It will not send all of the feedback back to your hands. And at the same time, when you are cornering or when you are leaning the bike or when you're trying to push the capabilities of the motorcycle, it feels a lot more planted. Maybe it's because of the extra 7 kilograms or the front rake angle of the motorcycle, but it is a lot more poised. It is a lot more easier to live with. And also, if you are pushing hard, it's a lot more capable. Now, the Speed T4, because of its light suspension, because of its light nature and its narrow ergonomics and the no traction control, when you're trying to tilt the motorcycle or when you're trying to flip the motorcycle into other directions, it's very unstable and it can give you the scare and not give you the faith that you would want out of your everyday motorcycle. So the loss of USDs has affected the T4 a lot, that we can understand. And also the change in the tire profile also kind of has an effect on the whole suspension department. In cities at speeds below 80 or 80, the T4 is a gem. It's very nimble. It has tons of torque to push you ahead. And since it is light, it will be very easy to maneuver through traffic. But at the same time, the Hero Mavrick does not fall a lot shorter on this, or it does not fall behind by a lot. That is because even though the suspension is not a monoshock in the rear, it is still easily flickable and you can easily maneuver around the city quite easily. Because it has such a good sitting position, because it has such a good rider's triangle, you are able to easily yank yourself and use a suspension to maneuver yourself around at low speeds as well. And at high speeds, and at, let's say, should you be able to find yourself in a ghat section, this motorcycle will be a lot better to ride. So because of the rawness of the T4 and the instability that comes with its lightness and its chassis setup, the winner of this round goes to the Mavrick. So now let's come down to the riding dynamics. I think this is what we all want to hear. So the interesting part to begin with was I was more at peace with the Mavrick, especially when I was pushing it. So due to the narrow structure and the lightweight nature and the no traction control, the T4 is quite an edgy motorcycle to push. Sudden changes in direction, or when you are leaning and when you're trying to give heavier inputs on the motorcycle, it is not that reassuring and it becomes very twitchy in those cases. And due to its narrow stance, you also cannot hold the tank properly. So all your weight has been moved onto your shoulders and your palms. So that affects the ergonomics a lot, because what that means is you cannot travel on this motorcycle for a long distance, and that might hurt the openness or the, the exploration of motorcycling that you would want to do out of this product. There is a learning curve to the T4, since it's a difficult motorcycle to work with and also that it is not the most stable and reassuring chassis. There is quite a lot of room for you to understand the capabilities of the motorcycle. You will not be completely bored with the motorcycle. So since it also wants to be pushed, since it's also very fast from the engine that it carries, it becomes a motorcycle that has a lot more capability in it, but at the same time it's just being held back because of a few things. So moving on to the Mavrick is a lot more matured, calmer and more poised motorcycle to be on. It will not give you reactions that you will not anticipate. It does not throw tantrums, it does not throw, moves that you will not anticipate. So all in all, it's a very predictable chassis setup, and it is also a chassis setup that will make you feel like home. Now this is a very interesting aspect of the Hero Mavrick because of everything, the concoction of the whole suspension, the chassis, the engine. You feel like this motorcycle was meant to be yours. So no matter whether you push it, no matter whether you're riding it slow, it will never give you reactions that you will not anticipate. So all in all, you will feel more attached to the Hero Mavrick when you're riding it on, let's say, city roads or even off the beaten path or even, let's say, ghat sections. It will make you more feel at home. But at the same time, the Triumph T4 has the capability to push your understanding of motorcycling. The Mavrick is a lot more playable, poised at the same time, stable on bad roads, and a lot more reassuring when you're doing good speeds in them. All in all, this gives the victory to the Hero Mavrick in terms of riding dynamics. So even though the engine may lack power, it is the torque that really pushes it steadily and helps you hold the speed should you find yourself in kart roads. The T4 feels to be poised and always has this urgency to be pushed, while being quite twitchy at the same time. So you may be able to go faster on the T4, but the mental hassle to achieve it is just way too much work. So due to all those reasons that we have mentioned above, we have come down to the following conclusion. So the Hero Mavrick is the better and more easier motorcycle to live with out of the two. And even the looks may not be in its favor. Looks is not everything. It is about how do you feel on the motorcycle, how do you ride on the motorcycle, what are your sort of requirements from the motorcycle, and also if somebody is sitting behind you, how comfortable is it from them. And in all of those cases, the Mavrick does pretty well in every aspect. The Triumph T4 is confused. It is trying to fill in a market segment because of the price point 2.17 that it tries to fill, because the Speed 400 was 2.2 before, now it has gone to 2.4. So the Triumph T4 is here to settle the 2.17 to 2.2 margin. Lastly, buying the cheapest Triumph can be a style statement, can be a fashion statement, or can be a lifestyle choice as well. But what we would like to say is, even though the Mavrick 440 may not have all the blinginess of the Triumph, it is still the better motorcycle out of the two. So what we think is buying the baby Triumph can be a choice that you make because of how it looks, because of the speed it carries, and also because of, let's say, the word Triumph. But the Hero Mavrick is the one to buy between the two. Now, whether it be riding in city roads, whether it be riding on highways, whether it be your weekend rides, anything, the Hero Mavrick will always be there to support you, and it always will be the better motorcycle in any condition. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. We hope we have helped you make a better decision with this comparo. If you do think the Mavrick 440 should be the winner in this comparo, give us a like. If you think the Speed T4 should be the winner, let us know in the comment section below, because we would like to have a discussion with you on why you or your experience with the motorcycle made you feel so. And if you do want others to enjoy the automotive world, or also want to spread the insight that we have provided in this video, do share it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Top Gear India. I am Akash Bhadra. I have run out of words and I'm signing off. And I signed off differently on the day of the shoot. So, editor, could you please play that?
Pronto, 1, 2, woo-hoo-hoo!